Hello. Hello. I was waiting for Julie to talk first.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How are you today?
You hope fine. Greetings from Ukraine. Hello.
Hello. Who's there?
Hello. Oriomi. You're the first.
You're the first comer. Good.
Yay.
Good. We usually hear latecomers. You're the first comer. Olani, hello, good evening. How are you? Guys, thank you for joining us this evening. As you're coming in, please do the honors of sharing this video with everyone. Share on your page and also invite others. Invite them individually. I sure would like it when somebody invites me to watch a program with them. It shows that they're thinking of me. So I like that. So if you would do the honors and share this with others as well. Kai, thank you very much. Kai said share. Share, Kai. Thank you.
Yes. Share.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, how are you guys today? I hope you're all good. We are very well here in Ukraine, as you can see already. Today we have the second part of reflection. Actually, it's day 2. Instead of putting it in parts, I've titled it Day 2 of Reflection on the series of the power and force of truth. So I'm glad that you're here to join us and you would participate in this, I hope. Please, guys, do us also a favor. You're free to call Julie Ngoya on her Facebook, which is Julie Ngoya, Facebook Messenger, so that you can also have this conversation with us live. Also, you can write your comments in the comments section, so please feel free to write your comments down. We would also love to read from you. So we are talking about the series on truth. Again, it's titled The Power and Force of Truth, and it's series number 34 on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, you go to Dr. Sunday, not Dr., it says Sunday Adelaja Official. So without the doctor, because I know that the Facebook page says Dr. Sunday Adelaja, but on YouTube it's Sunday Adelaja Official. So once you click, you would type in Sunday Adelaja Official and search, you would get, you will see a picture. It's round or circle, however you want to put it, and it's Dr. Sunday wearing blue and green. So click on that picture, you will come to his channel, and on his channel you find his homepage. Just scroll down, you find his homepage, and about the middle just scroll to the numbers of playlist and you should see series 34, The Power and Force of Truth. This series is a big one, it's a hefty one, and it has 45, I believe, 45 titles on it. So Dr. Sunday spent quite a lot of time teaching us about truth. And so with this reflection, we are going to spend some time discussing this series and everything that we have learned. I relish this opportunity very much because it also gives me the chance, and other people, the chance to think about what they've learned and how they are applying what they've learned on each series. So I really enjoy this. Thank you very much, Curtis. How are you? Good evening. Gift, how are you? Good evening. Doris, how are you? Thank you for joining. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys joining. So again, I'm going to ask that you please share, please, and invite your friends and family to join you, so that they can also reflect with you on the series on truth. So yesterday we started talking from the foundation, which is the 5 levels of truth. That's what we started from, 5 levels of truth. We discussed that. Then we also talked about I gave you some of the titles. I didn't give you all 45 because I think, well, you can go on YouTube and see the titles of each of the series, but we're going to take them in segments, in bite sizes. So we started with the introduction. The introduction started with Dr. Sunday discussing the 5 levels of truth. And I was saying to Julie and to you as well that not until Dr. Sunday started speaking about 5 levels of truth, I have a different impression, should I say, or perception. Perception on what truth is. And I had no idea at all what is true, other than, don't lie. And I say what I see, it's always directed to other people. It's never really that much internal, other than me knowing that, okay, this is the truth of the matter and I'm saying it to people. I really didn't know that truth is more to do with me and reflecting what is already in me to other people. And I still shared with you that I'm stuck on level 1 and 2 at the moment, because I'm finding that 2 levels alone, they're quite challenging for you to even pass. If you're talking the truth to yourself all the time, you tend not to judge other people, you tend not to be too critical on things, you tend not to be more tolerant, you tend not to be more understanding. So put it in any way that you like. This series is a life-changing series for me, and I'm sure that it would be for you too. So let's start the reflection. So Julie, start, please.
Yeah, so yesterday we were thoroughly talking about the first level, which is when you tell yourself the truth about yourself. So it's really important that we always go from the basis, from the foundation before we move on. So really, I would encourage you all to possibly rewatch that first one that we did yesterday, because it was very profound. And this is what we also concluded with all of the series. And I think this is one of the reasons why the series is so long, because it's so deep. It has so much depth, and truth is really the foundation of everything we do. It's the foundation of our whole lives. And even that sentence alone may be quite unusual or very uncommon for someone, or for most of us, because it was for us. But once you go through it, you will understand that really the whole universe is based on truth. So we have to internalize this in order to be able to understand and live, in the greatest way possible, really, because it's like the secret to life, knowing the understanding or the value of truth. So yesterday we talked about telling yourself the truth about yourself. And today I think we can also go a little bit deeper into the second and the third level of the truth, which is the second. You tell yourself the truth about another person. So when you tell yourself the truth, you tell the truth to yourself about another, okay? So this is really, really, really important, because it is about you. Even though that sentence contains the fact that you're thinking about another person, but that thinking should tell you something about yourself. The way you look at someone else, the way you judge someone else, should inform you about yourself. And this is something we never, 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 never do. We never use people as opportunities to minister to us. And not in the sense that they should talk to us, but we talking to ourselves. So for instance, I look at someone and I, look at the way they talk, for instance. And this way of them talking, what I perceive, my understanding of how they talk, of what words they use and how they express themselves, should inform me about myself. And this is so vital, because it is very subtle. It's a very subtle thing, and we can easily forget about it, or just oversee it and not take it seriously, or just make this about other people and not about us. We always look at them and think that the way we look at them is the way it is. But we don't go to the extent that we actually ask ourselves, why is it that I'm thinking this? Or where does that come from? Why do I even think about that person? And what does it tell me about myself? Do other people see them that way? Is everyone, having the same conclusions? And if not, what does it tell me about myself? What kind of person am I? And what about me? What if I was in that situation? What would that tell me about myself? Or would I react the same way? Would I say the same things? So all of these things are things that we have to do because they help us to know who we are. They help us to understand ourselves better. In return, it helps us to understand other people better, because it subconsciously helps us to put ourselves in another person's shoes. And then we will be able to understand rather than judge or, be confrontational in a negative sense and, try to defend ourselves or whatever it is. We really spend time looking into ourselves while observing another person. This really gives you a lot of freedom. It gives you a lot of understanding, and it gives you a lot of empathy also to another person, because you will start asking yourself questions, and those questions will stimulate you to approach the person, because you will really build genuine curiosity, and then you can build relationships that way as well. And only because you were pursuing truth about yourself by observing another. Isn't that
brilliant? Brilliant. And this is just what that you said there is that informs you. So this second level informs you. But before I continue, I just want to read the 5 levels to you. Mm-hmm. In case you can't remember, or you're joining us for the first time, or you just need your memory to be jogged. So here the first one is, tell the truth to yourself about yourself. For me, never heard that before, but I'm still going to go back a little bit to that, because that's the very, very beginning. And once we're able to do that, that's the foundation. Once we're able to do that, we will find that the rest will probably come naturally as well. And then we have number 2, tell the truth to yourself about another, which was the one that Julie has just given an in-depth analysis on, giving us like a full basis 101, Julie, with this very precise, I loved it, which is the truth to yourself about another. And then number 3 or level 3 is tell the truth about yourself to others. So tell the truth about yourself to others. This one, you have to really be skilled in doing this, and not take everything that you know about yourself and just tell it to others, just purge like, ugh. Mm-hmm. No, it's not the way it goes, but it is important. It's an important step, and it's a step that needs maturity, probably, I think. Mm-hmm. I think it definitely, not even probably. Yeah. I believe it needs maturity, especially this third one. And then we have, tell your truth about another to the other. Tell the truth about another to the other. This one I almost got wrong, and even up until yesterday I got wrong as well. So tell the truth about another to the other. So tell the truth about me, like Julie telling me the truth about me to me. I didn't get that. I was just thinking of the way like, oh, this person did that. I mean, it was really funny. So tell the truth about another. Tell the truth about another to the other. So this is an important step as well. They're all important, but it takes some time to get to understand this, because it's taken me a long time. This series was back in July, and I'm still grasping on this one especially. Then there's number 5, level 5, which is tell your truth to everyone about everything. Tell the truth to everyone about everything. I think this is where we all probably start from. I mean, I just came to the understanding that you want to tell the truth. We always start from this number 5. Tell the truth to everyone about everything. That's me. I think that's me, without doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know what? If you don't do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you jump to 5, you find that, you just rub people off the wrong way. Because you haven't really analyzed yourself. People would think, who the hell are you to be telling me this when you do this? Yeah. And you would have known what you do if you have assessed yourself to number 1 to 4 before you started number 5. So I've only come to start understanding. So this reflection time is really, really good, because while Dr. Sunday was teaching, I thought I got it, but obviously I didn't get it. And it requires me going back over and over, and even starting this reflection yesterday, that I got to realize that, OMG, Mayowa, you don't get it, do you? Okay? So we started yesterday with asking the question. So guys, if you're here, there listening to us, you might also want to do this. Just a short assessment of you asking yourself that, what do you know previously about the truth before the truth series? Okay? It's just good to just know what you know so that you know if you were on the right track or you really need to focus and develop yourself and your understanding in these new teachings. And then we asked us, what is the truth and how do I live by the truth? So what is really the truth and how do you live by the truth? So now that we live by the truth, really, is if you can master these 5 steps, you'll be living by the truth. And then we talked about these 5 levels, which I've just explained to you. And then what does the truth tell you about yourself? What does the truth tell you about yourself? Which is some of the things that Julie was saying, that this is a process to actually inform you. If you go through this process, especially number 2, is it informs you to know who you are, to understand your world, to know who you are. So it's such sort of another way of identifying, getting to know yourself, identifying who you are. And then we also said yesterday that you need to love truth even above yourself. So the truth have to take precedence over you, your person, who you are. And then if you love the truth, deception will never be able to hold you bound. You never have any issues with deceptions personally. You will be free. You will not be held bound by deception. So let's start again. Let's continue, actually. Let's continue from yesterday in terms of this series and what you've learned and what we've learned.
Yeah, so what is it about the second and the third level of truth that you would like to share? Maybe there's something that, you know, that was very, very profound in those levels.
Yes, there are lots, everything is profound, right? But I'm going to tell you, especially on the second level, first and second again, I'm going to talk about. Simply because I just think that once you grasp those 2 levels, you almost be expert in the rest of the levels once you are able to do this 2 really well. Those other 3 will come naturally to you. And one thing also that I really heard from Dr. Sunday from the teachings is that these processes are like repentance, especially process step 1. You know, if you're able, things that you can't even say to any other person, if you're saying it to yourself, you know, I think it's in his second teaching, the second title. If you listen to that, I was listening to it today, and I remember that he said that if by you just going to say to yourself, the first level, the truth about yourself to yourself, it's like you're repenting. Sometimes we think that we need to go and repent to somebody, or we need to go and say sorry to somebody when things happen. Yes, that's good. That's actually good if you can really, if you did something or you identify something that you did right or wrong, you did wrong, and you can go to the person and say, I'm sorry, and try to repair that. But it's also just as important if you would fall before God, you know, and say, right, I did this wrong, this was right. This is telling yourself the truth, because you know. And you know, I never even linked it until I listened to today's I listened today to the second day video, that I realized that that's absolutely repentance. That's, you know, because if there's things that you're doing wrong and you're telling yourself that, oh, what I did was really wrong, you know, I'm really wrong for doing this, I shouldn't have done that. First of all, you have the better chance of you changing your ways, because you can identify that things to be wrong. And then secondly, you're also, you know, you're not just talking to yourself in deaf ears. I believe God hears you, you know, and the Holy Spirit also would be with you. So if you can say, right, I did this wrong, I shouldn't have done it, you know, to yourself. There's no one in your room, there's no one in front of you. Like Julie said yesterday, you can just be in front of the mirror to do this. You're repenting, and as well as you're giving yourself an opportunity to grow, to really be a better person. Because when you want to do that thing again, you will remember that, wow, but I have said to myself that this is wrong. So something will convince you. I think this is where your conscience also will come in and convince you that I know that this is wrong. Why am I going to do it? So you give yourself a better chance to improve your personality, your character, your behavior, your thinking, everything about yourself. So really, you're building yourself up to be the best you can.
Yeah.
And then the bonus is that it's also repentance. You know, God will see your heart because you're totally honest, you're broken, you are, you know, you're just almost naked before yourself, because by you being truthful and you're telling yourself truth about yourself, you're naked, you're telling yourself, it's like splitting yourself into two and telling yourself that this is wrong, but you're in your own body as well. In you is only one person. So I really think that we really need to start cultivating this with everything that we do. You know, we started by just everything, just going through everything and saying, okay, did I say that right? Was I right for saying that? You know, would I like somebody to say that to me the way that I did this? Should I have done this better? How could I have improved on this? What would God have done? What did Jesus do? All those kind of things. You need to really use those tools and those questioning techniques to ask yourself that this truth that I want to know, you know, these are the things that you need to continuously ask yourself. And it's not something that you just do once a day or once a year or once every, you know, this can be your life. It can be every day, and it will become automatic as well. It's not something that, you know, I believe that it will become automatic, because as soon as you do something, I believe everybody have this. God created us this way, where we have a conscience, something will minister to us. But sometimes, like I said yesterday, you don't know what you don't know. So it's quite challenging for you to, if you're not really in this teaching with this understanding, you might not even think to do this at all. But luckily, you are here and you have this opportunity to listen to these teachings, have this understanding. I myself as well, I'm in the same shoes as you are, learning and understanding, and even this is becoming open to me. Like, this is another world, another life that's open to me. So I'm really grateful for this. And this is a good time, guys, to remind you that all these teachings are available on YouTube. Sunday Adelaja Official, Sunday Adelaja Official. Type in on YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official, and then search. You would see his name is the first person that comes up in the search results. You click on it, and it's a circle. Dr. Sunday is in a circle kind of banner, and a round kind of banner, whichever one you prefer, and is in blue and green. So you click on that picture and it will take you to his channel. And on his channel, he has over 3,000 videos and audios. And on his homepage of that channel, you would also see playlist after playlist. Select the one that you want, but the particular one that we're treating now is number 34, and is the Power and Force of Truth. This has 45 titles in it. So it's a long way to go, and it's also going to be a long way to reflect fully on these teachings. So I've just talked about the first level. Let me just read a bit of the comments. I think all is pleasantry, so it's not much. Hello, Pastor Ernest. Umiyale, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Lisa. How are you? Hello, Curtis. Sounds to me, according to report from Dr. Sunday, Nigeria needs reconstruction, economic education, and government. Absolutely, Curtis. Yes, that's what Dr. Sunday is really well known for. He's a reformer, and he's going to do it, and we are all going to do it. Hi, Paul. How are you? Reverend Rosalind, good evening. Thank you for joining. Abba, hello, good evening. Thank you for joining. Or is it Taiwo? Thank you for joining. Truth is more potent when used honestly. Yes, I think honestly is what we thought was truth. But yes, truth and honesty goes hand in hand, as far as I know. Sometimes you think that I'll be honest, but you cannot be truthful without you being honest. Okay? So I guess they go hand in hand. Pastor Obi, good evening. Hello, Benny, good evening. Gift is saying that, Julie, you're right. Thank you, Gift. Kurt, and transformation is okay. Thank you, Curtis. Afua, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for joining. Pastor Nikki, thank you for sharing and joining. So please, Tatiana, hello, good evening. Vivian, hello, good evening. Hello, Mayowa, how are you? I hope you're good. Thank you. Raja, hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So, guys, I will ask you again, please, would you please share, please, and invite friends and families to join us as well. Because this is really important that we understand this. I think this is particularly important because it really will help us, like Julie said, we become informed with this knowledge of truth, and if we practice them, so not just having the knowledge, but practicing this, and it also form us. It forms us to be the best that we can be. You know, there's no way that you will practice all this, you will do this every day in your life, that you will not be successful if you can do this. So, you know, understanding this alone is almost like a key to success in life. You know, relationships, with business, with anything. Just apply this and you'll find that your life will be great, and other people as well would appreciate you. You will be you would be recognized for being an upstanding person. I think if you can really master this and do it every day of your life, be part of your life. So again, I will ask you to please share and invite your friends. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I really like what Mayowa was saying about the first level, because it reminded me of prayer. You know, we often pray to God and ask for forgiveness. And like Dr. Sunday said, I think yesterday, when someone asked a question, he was saying, you know, sometimes we don't even know what we do. There are sins that we do that we're not even aware of. And this is, you know, another dimension where I'm thinking, wow, there are things that if I'm supposed to tell myself the truth and I don't even know certain things that I do, how am I supposed to tell myself the truth, you know? And how am I supposed to tell other people the truth? So it's so important that we actually know what we're doing, so that we know what we're saying, if that makes sense, both to yourself and to others and to God. You know, when we talk about asking God for forgiveness, I know, at least for myself, having grown up in a quite religious way, that we just do these things because we say them. They're part of our prayer. They're part of our rituals. When we pray, we say, thank you, God. We say, forgive me for my sins. And then we finish having prayed and we have done our duty. But we haven't even thought about these things, because we just say them like they're doctrines, you know, that like they're meditated or just words coming out of our mouths. Especially when it comes to repentance, we don't actually deeply think about what we are saying, because if we were doing that, I think Christianity would look different today, really. Because imagine if all of us would really observe ourselves to such an extent that whenever we come before God in our secret places, when we are all alone with Him, we talk about these very things, you know, these very truths about ourselves that, during the whole day or the last hour or whatever we've observed about us, you know, we can ask questions to God like that. And this is where prayer becomes genuine, you know, because even the good things, you can talk to God about them. You say, wow, I've seen this about myself. What does that mean? You know, reveal this to me, or show me what that means, or direct me to seek the answer in the right places. And we can't do that. We can't have that communication with God when we are not truthful to ourselves about ourselves. So I found that so profound, because this actually explains, you know, if we're supposed to talk about solitude, for instance, this is where you talk to God being truthful.
Oh, that's another practical way. That's a key way of practicalizing these teachings.
Yeah.
The truth. Go ahead.
Yeah, using solitude as, you know, the medium, you can say, to internalize this truth in yourself. You go into solitude, even with a list that you've observed about yourself, and then you speak to God about it. It's so relieving. It gives you so much freedom, and, you know, enables you to be truthful, to be you, you know, going to God with that list, saying, you know what, I have seen this, and I have experienced this, and I you know, want an answer about this, and I don't know what to do, or what does it tell me about myself, or all of these things. And this is how our prayers can become genuine. So I really, really love that. I love what you said about, telling yourself about the truth about yourself.
Thank you. What Julie said in terms of like going to God and being truthful, actually, I just took me back to the teaching from the beginning where Dr. Sunday said that this, one of the guys that also is well known for this 5 levels of truth, he was somebody that he wrote everything down. He was so disillusioned with the world that he just couldn't take it. He just didn't like, he just couldn't accept it. So he wrote a lot down and a lot of questions, and he seek God for an answer. He said that I need to know the answers to this. And that's also, that kind of covers everything about the truth that, you can write everything down, or, just know everything that you need to ask God. I think also being truthful is also like a conversation with God when you're talking to yourself in the first level at least. It's like a conversation with God where you're saying that, oh, I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right. Because God is also in you, So it's in you, but it's giving you the free will. It's not going to say, oh, you didn't do this right. I'm in you, and start poking you inside and saying, maybe it pokes you with your conscience, but it's also giving you sound mind to think and say, right, I need answers to this. I didn't do this right. And it's not just about what you've done right. Wrongly or wrong. It is about what you also, the true positive things that you have, that
you experience.
Yes, what you're experiencing, and saying, God, I need to know the truth about this. I need to understand. I need you to reveal to me. So that's in itself is a prayer. And while Julie was talking, I was also thinking that maybe this is one of the reasons that God loves David, the king.
Yes.
Because it's like this, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just took me back while you were talking. You just took me back to King David in the Bible. And he's like this, even when he does something wrong, he's like, oh, God, I did this. I'm so sorry. I just covered somebody, They're all, is it Psalms? Yes. Yeah. I haven't read Bible for a while. I'm sorry. It's in the Psalms. The whole of it's like, is this guy for real? You did this and then you would say this. That's how I always read the Bible. I was like, what's wrong with this David guy? David, chill out, And I sometimes, some of this stuff that he talks to God about and he says, I just can't believe it. He says, I have sinned, I am this, I am that, I have covered this with iniquities. This is the truth. This is David. And this is why God loves David. And it just occurred to me just now as Julie was talking that if we can be like David as well, it's just so childlike with God. Everything is just so that even if he goes with his free will and do something that he shouldn't have done, it still comes back. And God says that this is a guy after my heart. Yes. So God loves this guy. So we should all be after God's heart in this respect. And this is how we can be after God's heart. Because we go and think about it. We just don't say, oh, I have done this, I am right. I've done it. Whatever comes from me.
I'm not perfect anyway. So
exactly. That's another thing, And I think most of us do what Julie just said, actually. Maybe most of us are not so arrogant to say that I'm right. But it's the same thing. But we go the other way around to manipulate ourselves by saying, oh, I'm not perfect. And then just sweep it under the carpet without doing the right thing. And the right thing would be to go and tell yourself the truth about yourself. So I'm sure we'll go back to this because this is the foundation. And sometimes you do always have to go back to the foundation in discussing any matter at any point. You always have to go back to the basis. The second one, which really we should I think we can spend a whole week discussing just the first one. But let's mix it up a bit. And then the second one, the truth yourself about another. This one is really key as well. I mean, the first one is like a foundation. If you don't have that, almost you can't do anything else. But this one, the truth you tell yourself about another, also takes you to be very, very truthful. When you see somebody do something and you can say, right, this thing this person is doing, I don't like it. I don't think it's right. But I do it as well. Or I don't do it. It could be that you do it, or it could be that you don't do it at all. But instead of you to just go to that person and say, oh, what you've done is wrong, the first place you go is to tell yourself that look at what this person has done. It really sucks. I don't really like it. I don't think it's a good thing to do. And wow, what could she or he have done differently? So talk to yourself as though you were the one that did it.
Yeah, but also ask yourself where that even comes from, you know? Try to understand the person, because everything we do has a root. Everything we do comes from somewhere. So we have to try to know, or ask ourselves at least the question, okay, if that person did this, how come? What could have led to this? And you know what? As you engage into those type of questions, you actually distance yourself from the judgmental questions, because these are so profound. Like you will even spend time trying to get into the person's mind to understand them, and this will propel you to rather understand rather than judge. And it doesn't even matter what the person did. I think that's the really, really powerful part here. It doesn't matter what the person did, because if you start asking yourself those questions,
yes,
it won't. You will forget about the action. You will try to understand the person.
Yes, you try to understand the person, and also you try to learn from that person.
Mm-hmm.
You try to learn from other people and learn from their own experiences. You know, sometimes we think that, or we say that, you learn experience. Yes, I don't really like those words. I really don't like things like this. I know you know, like cliche words like experience is the best teacher. Africans say that, and I just don't like it. In this case,
say that,
oh really?
Yeah.
Did they say that in Germany?
Mm-hmm.
They say that sometimes. It is an English word. Obviously, experience is the best teacher, but Africans just misuse it. It's not the best teacher. Why would you have to go and experience something in order for you to know that is wrong?
Yeah.
You know, it is a teacher, right? But not the best. I think the best teacher is for you to see somebody else where you truth you tell yourself about another, is to see something happening to somebody and seeing the impact or the result or the effect of what they've done, the cause and effect, and saying to yourself that, wow, look at what happened to this person, look at this. That is the best teacher.
Absolutely.
And then not do it or do better.
Yeah.
You know, but to say you have to experience something, it's no. You know, it's like being burned. You know, if you're burned, it's gone. But if somebody was burned and you learn from that, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, not that it's good that they got burned. But it's good that you learn and you said, okay, fine. This person went to this kitchen and put their hands down here on the stove, without realizing that somebody just cooked and this was, you know, and they got burned and the skin is burned.
Yeah.
So would you rather go and get burned for you to kind of understand? No.
Would you not?
You know, so I really think that this also is really one of the best levels.
Yes.
That it doesn't, and it takes away from me. It actually makes sense with me now when I really don't like the words or the cliche or the saying that experience is the best teacher. Yes, I agree that it's a teacher, but it's not the best. No.
It's probably not supposed to be your experience
Yeah.
either. You know, I really love what you said. I love it so much, because how often do we actually use that as an excuse? We say, oh, you have to experience it, to make your own experiences and learn from that. But where's the logic? If someone else did it before you, the very same thing, why would you go and do it if you know exactly what the outcome is? You know? Yeah. It's like, it applies to everything in life. Even if you want to build a business, someone else did it before you.
Model that
from
business.
them.
Yes.
Exactly. Model it, ask questions. And that's exactly where we can ask questions. You know, we try to always be, you know, the ones who came up with the response, or the ones who came up with the solution, or those who did things differently. And asking questions or doing what someone else did will not deprive you of that. But this question asking and this inquiring into yourself, this being truthful about the things you observe, the things that you see, it helps you actually to be ahead of other people. You know, we are living in so much deception that we think ourselves into deception while the truth is in front of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
And you know, one thing that Julie just said there that just clicked to me was that it doesn't have to be your experience, because when I was thinking of experience being the first teacher, really honestly, I was thinking of experience by myself. But if somebody else experiences it, it's also an experience.
Yeah.
You know, but just what I want, so take note of that. So it's also an experience, because it's not me that experienced it. It was Julie's experience. And I'm using Julie's experience to learn, which is the second level of the truth to myself about another. Okay? So that's still an experience. So maybe what I should have said that is, experience by you is not necessarily the best teacher. If it's always by you, you don't need to wait until you experience it. But it's also in the context that we need to also realize that we can think ahead. You know, we can think ahead. So this is where this second level comes in, where you don't have to have done those things, but you can think, you can see the real outcome, the results, or even the effect from sitting afar or wherever you are. When that thing happened, you realize that this is not right. It might not even be something, it might be maybe somebody did, maybe it's not even something that somebody spoke, maybe it's just in an attitude, something that you perceive in a person, that you can also tell yourself the truth. It's not an experience, it's just that it's just something that was perceived. And as human beings, we need to be able to perceive things, to know in advance, you know, to live ahead. We don't need to wait until something happens before we realize what to do or what not to do. We need to always be ahead of everything to know, you know. That's what separates us from animals, because we can think. So if you think something and you're thinking something is not right, or something may happen or may not happen, that's not an experience. It's just something that you know from your knowledge, from wisdom, from maturity, from all sorts of things combined. So yes, we must always remember that those experiences don't have to be our experience for us to also learn and to understand what not to do.
Yeah, I want to add to that really quickly that, you know, this second level of truth, it helps us to actually pack issues at their roots. Because, you know, when we think about relationships, for instance, and the way that it has evolved over time, you know, people don't really respect marriage, for instance. They don't really respect marriage anymore as they did in the past, because, you know, we look at what other people have done and it has probably failed. Yeah, many marriages have failed, and we're thinking, oh, because they have failed, marriage is not good. But if we were to go according to the second level of truth, we would go and ask ourselves, okay, what have they done possibly? Where did that come from? You know, we would start asking those questions to understand, you know, where is the root cause? Is it really marriage that is the problem? Or was there anything else that was done that I can learn from, so that if it's my turn, it won't the same outcome won't apply to me. And I think that's the problem that we have in society in many cases, that we just don't ask ourselves those questions. We don't tell ourselves the truth about others. We don't do that, but instead we react based on the outcomes. And this is why we are where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the examples you used there, Julie, is really good, because especially with marriage, I mean, for me, I don't go by the name of things. You know, the name, if I have to go by the name, it has to be exactly what is meant to be in the can, you know. So if somebody says that they have a marriage, if the marriage is not functioning as a marriage, you know, in the way they should do, as God has ordained it to be, then for me, you can call it that you're married, but for me, it's not. So, but it is really important what you said there, in terms of when we hear something bad. That example is key, because when we hear something that is bad about a subject or a matter, we automatically think that thing is bad, not really thinking about the people that are involved. What did they do? You know, it's what they did or how they treated those things that matters. And marriage is a very, very big one in society, where we hear this news about 52% of marriages not working, this is not happening. But do they have the basis of truth? Were they really marriages, or because they had a ceremony, they went to church or they went to the registry, that makes it a marriage? Yes, by law it makes it a marriage, but by actual doing and living day to day, is it really a marriage? And if we ask those questions, we will realize that yes, maybe they're not putting what they need, the ingredients into it. They might have all the ingredients, but maybe they're not mixing up right. Who knows? You know, a boy, a girl get married, but if they don't have it's like you want to make a cake. You know, if you decide to just whip the egg, you might have everything: egg, flour, sugar, this and that. And you, depending on how you do it, will determine the taste of it. You know,
how will it look like in the end?
Exactly. Of course, and exactly how it looks like in the end, because you could make a cake that would turn out to be biscuits or turn out to be like a sweet bread. Who knows?
Or unbaked or something like that.
Yes, unbaked. How much you put in the oven. So these things are also very important that we do all this analysis, and it has to be continuous as well. It's not one thing that you do continuous or maybe consistent. You have to be persistent and consistent in doing these things day in, day out with everything. Not some things that you take your time to do it with, and there's some things you don't take your time to do it with. You have to do it with everything possible that you can possibly think about to have that optimum result. You know, if you don't, then it's due to the fact that you're not going through these processes with everything. And I think it really gives a very good quality of life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really, I think it delivers you from so much bondage. I mean, bondage about different thoughts you could have, about being judgmental, about, you know, doing things that you don't want to. It just frees you up. It frees you up to live a life that you don't have to remember everything you do, because you do everything in truth. I mean, how much easier can life be, you know, and how much more freer can life be? So I really love that one. Also, I also think it's really important to remember one thing that we learned through this teaching is that we need to see other people as opportunities of learning, you know, opportunities of truth. That whatever they do, whatever we see about them, we should use that as opportunities to grow and to discover something new about ourselves. What do you think about that?
Yes. And I think this is where the truth has to be something that is engaging. It's always engaging. It's not in isolation. You know, it's always engaging. So yes, we do need people to make this analysis, even if it's about yourself, because it's not just you that you're treating yourself bad or you're in your own world on your own. You have other people, and you have people with different characters, different backgrounds, different upbringing, different outlook on lives, you know, different values, different value system, different understanding, different purpose as well. You know, we're so different that this is like a lifelong learning process. It's not something that you can fully capture or be in one experience or even in one decade. It's something that has to be forever you know. So it is absolutely necessary that we really engage with people and we involve people, because like I said, I don't think that it is possible for you to even do anything that is not involving anyone. You know, you can't really be bad just to yourself, by yourself. You know, it has to also involve somebody else. So even if you treat yourself badly, you will be treating yourself badly because of maybe you took something else as a priority, and it's usually involving other people. And we don't live in isolation. Even if you decide to go and live in an island somewhere, you will still be wronging somebody. You will still be somebody that needs to live in truth. Even if you live on your own and you never go out, and everything that you need is provided for you in your home, you will still have interaction somehow. It's not possible. You know? That's why they say no one is an island on their own. I don't like this as well. I must say no one is an island on their own. You know, it's just why we even I don't like sayings, you know. I just think that saying is just misleading. You know, so okay, why do we even talk about an island on our own? It's not possible. Don't let us even talk about something like that. Okay, don't let me lose on this kind of things. Let's focus on let's focus on this.
You know, I really like this because it helps us to be humble. And how much do we love humility? Really, whenever we see someone who's humble, we always commend them. We say that this is something good, it is, beautiful and whatever. But we can all be humble if we use people as opportunities to learn and to discover more about ourselves. Because we will not be engaged in the business of judging what is right and what is wrong about what someone did, but we will rather be curious to know more, because we can't know more even because when we observe someone, we know some things, but obviously you want to know more. You want to know more about what this is that you learn about yourself. So you will be compelled to ask questions. And in order for you to ask questions, you have to be humble. You can't go to someone and just be like, oh, tell me this now, I want to know it.
Well, you won't get an answer.
Probably not. Or probably not an answer that, will help you.
Yeah, you will get... you will get...
So it really helps us to, acquire that humble approach and go towards people and build relationships. It's a beautiful thing to do. We all should engage in learning more about ourselves, telling ourselves the truth about other people, because this is for me the basis of relationships.
Yes. And it's also for me also it's an opportunity to always learn. I think level 1 is an opportunity to learn about myself and to ground myself. But level 2 is always an opportunity to learn, because you're constantly also looking at other people, looking at what they're doing, not to judge, but for you to take back as your assignment to learn, to develop yourself and say something about to yourself again. So when you pick number 2, when you take number 2, you have to use number 1 and to apply it, because you can't just go and take number 2, which is tell the truth about another to yourself, without you telling the truth to yourself. So you have to tell that truth. Like, okay, this is my friend, even though I like Julie a lot, Julie is doing something, and maybe she might not know, but this is the truth. So first I would have told myself the truth about what Julie has done. I'll know that this is the truth, and then take it and tell myself again about her experience or what she's doing. So I'm really grateful for the knowledge of this truth series, or the truth levels. The knowledge of the truth levels is really, really important. I mean, I don't think we can even exhaust this. It's not possible for us to exhaust it. And I'm going to try that we cover most of the bases, like most of the areas that Dr. Sunday taught about. But this takes a lot of task, and it involves you and I, every one of us, to go back to the teachings, to listen to them over and over again. You saw yesterday, I was arguing with Julie on which is which. I think it was level 4, where I wasn't really sure. It sounds like a 3-way thing. But at that point, I thought I knew. Not until Julie said, and I thought about it again, and then I listened to it again, and then I read about it, and then I thought, okay, this is what it's saying. But sometimes even when somebody is saying something, you think that you know, you think that you get it, but you don't get it at all. You need to really go back before you get it. So that's another thing, or maybe another thing you need to look out for. Another danger of this is that the truth has to be absolute. We will go into that later, but it has to be absolute. It's not just what you think. The truth is not what you think. The truth is what the truth is. So you can think something else, but that's not the truth. And it doesn't stop there. It has to be exactly what it is. And it has to be universal. I think that's one of the things that Dr. Sunday said as well. But this is a very long series. We'll go into it later, of being universal, being absolute and objective. So those 3 things as well. So it's not like, okay, I think that you shouldn't have done this. No, that's not the truth. The truth really
has to be applicable. It has to be applicable, universally applicable.
Yes. So those things as well, we need to have really deep understanding, because if we don't have deep understanding, we're going to be doing this analysis of the level 1 and level 2 on the wrong things.
Yeah, and very superficial.
Yes. Yeah, it's superficial level or something that is not even right because we think so. You know, and I think my level of truth, my understanding of truth before was this superficial type of ways where I think that I feel or I think that this was the truth. And then I'm taking that on board to say, yes, this is how it is. It's not, because it has to be universal, you have to be absolute, it has to be, what's the other one that you said? Objective.
And personal, applicable.
Applicable. It has to be applicable. So that on its own as well is another training. You know, you have to train yourself to know how to identify the truth. So before you can take yourself to these levels, you also have to be able to identify the truth based on those criterias. The criteria is that, is it universal, is it objective, is it absolute, and is it applicable? And applicable to everybody. So that's universal. So those are the main things. And one of the examples that Dr. Sunday gave in terms of universal is that, which I really loved, is about the pregnancy and how, you know, how long women are pregnant. Does that mean that if you're white, you're pregnant for a shorter period, and if you're black, you're pregnant for a longer period? No, everybody all over the world are pregnant for set time. If your pregnancy is up to maturity, is 9 months. Yes, there are some that have premature and, you know, overdue as well, but generally is 9 months. Everybody knows that. Those are exceptions to the rule. So we absolutely need to know how to identify the truth as well in order for us to be able to do this assessment of the truth. So the time is almost over. I just checked the time. But before we go, I think we should read the comments. So Julie, you might want to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so Curtis is saying truth has to be used to create values and not destroy values. Otherwise, truth itself is futile. That is very true, Curtis. Stephanie says the truth is universally applicable. Great. Yeah. Modupe is saying, I like that. The truth is not what you think. The truth is what it is. Mayowa.
Thank you.
That's so true, and it's a very profound truth to know, because really it makes life so much easier. Monica says, sorry I'm late. No problem,
okay,
Monica.
You can watch it again and again and again and again.
Exactly. Curtis is saying, truth should be objective. Yes. Yinka, hello. Hello. Louis is saying, you ladies are making so much sense. God bless you so much.
Thank you, Louis. That's nice of you.
Thank you. Curtis is saying, facts. Yeah. Omuba says, most people are just cohabiting. Most people went to the altar as a result of pressure, most especially from parents. It's so common in Nigeria here.
Omoba is this.
Curtis is saying, marriages have been failing for eternity. It's better to get a contract and have a relationship creating values and building wealth. If a marriage is void of wealth, it will be futile.
Strong opinions, Curtis.
Gift is saying, whenever we look in the mirror will tell us the mirror will tell us who we actually are. But the problem is that many of us don't love the truth we see on the mirror, especially when they are negative. I have come to understand the truth we accept is what we can submit to God, and that creates a personal relationship between us and God.
Thank you,
Gift. Beautiful. Yeah. It's so true, because it can be very, very daunting to tell yourself the truth. So really, you have to love the truth more than you love yourself.
And yes, the other thing that we didn't say is that the truth is actually God.
But we will get to that, though.
Okay.
Yeah. No worries. Curtis, I love you ladies' accents.
Okay, thank you, Curtis.
Thank you, Curtis. Vivian says we have to be truthful about ourselves. Agreed. Yeah. Curtis says truth can send you to hell or to heaven, depending on its use.
No, that's not universal, Curtis. Truth would also always send you to heaven eventually. I know what Curtis is saying in terms of, you know, especially if you're in the wrong environment where they don't like the truth and they give you such a hard time, especially now with Dr. Sunday's teachings, for example, where, you know, he's talking about really deep things within the church and all sorts of abuse, all sorts of assaults on him. So you might say that's hell, but I don't see that as hell, and I don't think Dr. Sunday sees it as hell. He just sees it as a response to how people accept the truth.
I think he may also mean that if you don't accept the truth. Maybe this is something that he wanted to say.
Okay, but it says here that it depends on how...
On its use. How you, like, do you use it? Do you make use of it? Or do you reject it?
Well, if you reject it, you're not going to use it. Okay.
Yeah, well, maybe you can enlighten us a little bit about this, Curtis.
Curtis is absolutely. If I'm thinking what you're saying is that, say use truth whenever, it's going to work for you, and when it's not going to work for you, then, don't, because some people do. But no, truth is just the truth. You just have to let it out and act it.
Leonard Aeon is saying, bless you. Bless you too, Leonard. It does. Okay. Sounds to me. Okay, we have that. Okay.
Anything at the bottom?
Hello, Ufoma. Okay. Great.
So, guys, it's been a pleasure being with you today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Remember, we start from 7 p.m. Ukraine time, which is 5 p.m. UK and Nigeria time. So be with us. We'll be back tomorrow from 7. But before then, we'll be back in an hour with Dr. Sunday, where he's going to continue on these explosive exposés, with the church and how the African church is now a pagan practice that they do. And is really, really a should I say heartwarming, or what's the word for it?
Revealing.
It's a revealing, yes. Because I've actually practiced some of those pagan practices as well. I myself have, yeah, mantle, pagan, and it makes so much sense. I don't know why anyone would ever fight against it, but be with us in an hour, actually just under an hour, in 58 minutes, okay? So we'll be back. Dr. Sunday will be teaching again on this new series on the African church, the death of Christianity, the hijacking of Christianity, and the resurrection of paganism. Join us. We'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Noni, you need to go back and watch this, okay? Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Take care.